wishing a happy opening ceremony to those cheese-eating surrender monkeys. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. The church, get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. Love that about you. Excited to see Patrick Warburton in here. Alexis, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So, your background, stand-up, and where do you hail from?
Over here, Pasadena.
Oh,
Yeah,
local girl.
local.
Not too many of those around
No,
here.
it's
Grew up
rare.
in Pasadena.
Somewhat, like Upland, Claremont area, Pasadena later.
Dr. Drew's an old-time Pasadena guy.
I see him all the time eating.
You do?
I do, yeah. He's very easy to point out.
Yeah.
And, he's always on Colorado Boulevard,
Eating.
just eating outside. Like he's asking for people to like come up and talk to him.
He's such a whore, isn't he?
I know.
I know. I never forget once when I was walking the red carpet with Danny Bonaducci, and he walked it once, and then he turned around and he walked it again.
I didn't know you could do that.
I didn't know you could double down, double dip on the red carpet walk, but he did.
Wow.
Yeah, you can tilt
Sober?
that mic down a little and pull it a little closer to you just because
All right,
that's
like
the way
that?
Dawson likes it. Yeah.
All right.
So Drew likes to go preen in front of everybody by eating outdoors
All the time.
in Pasadena.
I've never seen him inside anything.
He doesn't go indoors. He's an
No.
outdoor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outdoor cat.
He likes to eat outdoors. So Pasadena now. Stand-up. How long have you been doing stand-up?
It'll be 10 years in October. Yeah, stand-up, some acting, but mainly stand-up.
And shows coming up.
Yeah, I'll be, by the time this airs, I'll be out of there, but I'm going to Portland this weekend, and then I'll be on the East Coast doing some shows in New York and Boston.
I got Fox Theater in Visalia.
Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow with Jeff Dye.
All right. Except for the show doesn't air.
Someone messed up.
Yeah.
Who did it?
I don't know. That's a thing. I mean, it's how we do things here. It's a thing. And then the 27th. Wait, what day is the 27th? Is that this?
27th is Saturday.
Oh, yeah, I'll
okay.
be in...
All right. So these first two dates don't belong on the piece of paper that I'm reading. Okay. It's weird. I know you're saying off the air that I seem like an asshole. But wait a minute. Saturday's the 27th and the 28th is Sunday? All right. So that's gone. All right. But
Yeah.
we do have an August 3rd date.
August 3rd, where will I be? I think I'll be in L.A. somewhere, and then I'll be on the East Coast
Yeah.
at the New York Comedy Club.
Yeah. The thing about I've learned in life is there's really no fixing things. It just is.
Yeah, and that's...
It's just whatever.
Yeah.
Just whatever. I would used to go to my website all the time and I would go, there are dates on this website that are 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
We seem like idiots because these are dates that are for sale, except for they're 2 weeks old. And
Yeah.
the people just look at you and go,
Well, our dates are different.
what are you going to do? And I'd go, I don't know. It seems fixable, but it's not really fixable, is what you learn.
How I know I mess up on dates is my dad calls me freaking out going, you have the date wrong on your website. And that's when I go.
Your
But yeah.
dad's involved.
Yeah, he's like a stage dad because he
Oh,
tried
really?
to do stand-up.
He tried.
Yeah, not like he failed, but, he had other priorities. He was a public defender for LA County.
Wow.
Yeah.
But he tried some stand-up.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
Is he?
Yeah, really funny.
And when you say try, my dad tried a little stand-up too, but my dad's work ethic is so poor that he never worked at it, because what people don't realize with show business is they think it's going to be fun, but then they realize there's a certain amount of prep and work and repetition and all this shit you don't like about your jobs. That's show business too, but you don't see that part of it. So you think it's going to be good, and then you announce you want to do stand-up, and then you realize, I don't want to wait in line for 2 hours and do open mics and sit around and perform for free, and then you slough off. But your dad did it for a while, or what was his thing?
You know those workshops where you sign up, at the very end you have a showcase? He did that, and then the day of the showcase, his mom passed away.
Oh,
So I
wow.
think that was kind of like it's fine.
Well, you think it was like an eerie harbinger for him
Yeah, I think it was just hard for him to get back into it after that.
after his mom died?
Yeah, I think he just was like, I'm fine.
Well,
But-
he had a good day job.
Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of attorneys try stand-up and improv. I think it's to get rid of the stage fright in front of like a jury.
Yeah, there's certain jobs that have second jobs attached to them. I shouldn't say second jobs, but I just mean all firemen I've ever met are part-time carpenters.
Yeah,
they do
I
a lot of
dated one.
Was he a carpenter?
No.
Oh shit.
But a lot of them are DJs too.
Oh shit. Oh, that's a new thing now.
Yeah.
That didn't exist.
Yeah.
DJ wasn't a job. Now it's a job. But back when DJ wasn't a job, these guys would be doing the fireman shit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then the rest they were contracting.
Yeah.
They were building houses.
And that's a real man.
You dated a firefighter?
I did, yeah, for 6 years.
That's a good dude. What happened?
You know, it was hard. The whole comedy thing was hard for him.
He didn't like that? Didn't like
I
the
think he
travel or
he
the
didn't like-
attention or what was it?
I think he had an idea of what he wanted his wife to be, and it didn't involve, meet and greets at like after a show, on vacation or whatever. But yeah, I think he just wanted a different life for himself. It's not for everybody, right?
Being with someone who does comedy?
I think so, or just pursuing a dream that takes a lot of work.
Focus, attention
Yeah.
away from him, maybe.
Yeah. Are you dating? Do you have a wife right now?
I have a girlfriend who's a
Okay.
comic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do I know her? You don't have to say her name out loud.
Crystal. Yeah. I don't,
Oh.
but she,
Crystal.
but I don't, I always wanted to be with someone who went and did something. I like when women leave and do things.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
I did a joke about being single and having to shave your whole body off every week. And I realized all my friends use men razors. So I came out with a razor marketed towards women with all the features of like a Gillette. Yeah.
Wait, is this part of the routine?
No, it's actually something I did.
Oh, it's a product.
Yeah. I just came out with it.
Oh, okay. Because the beginning part was a joke, right?
Yeah, it stemmed from a joke.
Yeah, I didn't know if the second part was part of the act. I didn't know if there's a
Yeah, no,
there's
it's a
punch
true
there.
story.
But don't they have lady razors?
They do, but they're kind of dingy and they're like pink and sparkly.
Yeah.
I like a heavy razor, like a man's razor.
Yeah, something
It's
with
like
some
a
heft.
durable. Yeah.
And are you selling these things?
Yeah.
Oh, is there
Yeah.
a name?
Tomboy razors.
Oh, that's a good name.
Yeah.
So, and I will talk about that, but first, I have it on my list. I've always been jealous of firemen because I was at a gathering, some family related, some distant, something cousin married a fire guy or whatever. And he's 48. And I said, well, what's going on? And by the way, 48 now in dude age and women, but just in general, it's not old. It's not even close to old.
No, men are like, I think I'll have a family now.
oh yeah. I mean,
settle down.
my, back to Dr. Drew. Dr. Drew's like 66, works every weekend, like
Yeah.
travels, works. My dudes, first off, the dudes I know who work the hardest are Mark Garagos, attorney. Your dad probably knows him.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Drew. And they're both in their 60s. The laziest fuckers I know are in their 30s.
Yeah.
They're guys like, I want to say to young guys, hey, what's the plan? Like, are we going to have a career? What are we doing? There's all you can eat sushi this weekend. Like, I'm traveling this weekend.
terrifying.
I'm working. Oh, they're doing a taste of Glendale this weekend. We're going. And I'm like, don't you want a career?
It's
Do you have thoughts about
terrifying.
work or career? Isn't your fucking woman pissed that you fucking don't do anything all day? You have no drive or motivation? Like,
Yeah.
the hardest working people in this building for the last 15 years, bar none, have been the three oldest fuckers in this building. It's
Yeah.
been me, Mark Garagos, and Dr. Drew. All the young people don't give a fuck.
No.
Which is weird, sad, and an eerie harbinger for our nation. But
Yeah.
okay. But I just turned 60. I could never. I'm not even close to retiring. I mean,
No.
think about it. Like
Well,
I
you have
got
a
dates.
good thing going for you.
I got good things
Why
going,
stop?
but I would. Firemen are out at 50.
Yeah.
Out, and it's
and
like
then they die. That's what happens.
they get shot at Trump rallies. I mean, not the overwhelming majority of them, but I was
Sure, a
thinking
few.
about the guy who was shot at the Trump rally.
Yeah.
And no disrespect, the guy's a hero. He dove on his family, all that kind of stuff. But they were like 50-year-old retired fire captain. And I was like, they're showing a picture of the guy. He looks fit as a fiddle.
I know.
He's 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? You're a fire captain. I again, maybe you're 50. You don't want to rush into a burning building and carry a fat person out. But I just
Yeah.
mean, why do you need to retire? You're fine. Like,
they make them. They push them out.
I get it, but 50 is not what it used to be.
Sure. We're
you know?
living to be at least, I would say, I'll probably live to be at least 104. You too.
Well,
I think
now
you'll be
that you've
okay.
jinxed us. No, it isn't really even about what you live to, per se, although
Sure.
that's part of it.
What you,
It's more like when Dr. Drew was 50, he could bench press 300 pounds and fuck all night. Like,
Yeah.
there's no a 50-year-old Dr. Drew does not need to sit on the bench or be
No.
pulled out of the game. I got a million friends that are older than 50. They're fine. They're virile. They travel. They're healthy. They
Yeah.
work. They think. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why the firemen, we just push you out at 50. And by the way, we just push you out and pay you for the rest of your
Sure.
life. I don't feel like it's a good use of our money. Like, my thing would be like, look, let the young scrubs clean the fire truck and feed the Dalmatian. But
Yeah.
you hang out here and, make decisions.
sure. I mean, I think they cook mostly. The older
cook,
ones.
you make the chili.
But I will say that, the main component in all of this longevity is you guys have money.
Yeah.
Dr. Drew is like, of course he's going to live to be a little bit older than all of us. I would hope, right?
No, but he's got money, so why is he working every weekend? Mark Garagos has money. Why is he
does.
working every weekend? I have money. Why am I working every weekend? Like, that's the whole thing.
Yeah. The passion's keeping you guys alive.
You have money doesn't make you live longer, but if you like, you can do certain things. I mean, look, the reality is poor people can eat healthy. This fucking bullshit where they don't have access that anyone can eat an orange and a hard-boiled egg. They just don't want to.
They also are like, they're working. They're out there. They're labor workers, a lot of them. So I feel like they live longer anyway. But yeah, I agree.
With which part?
That poor people can eat healthy.
And firemen can work longer?
Yeah, and that's how I want to end this.
Yeah, okay. Who broke up? Your fireman guy, did he break up with you?
Yeah, he
Oh,
did.
man.
But it was good. It's what I needed.
That's bullshit.
Now I have a razor company.
Yeah, screw him. You know what? Revenge is the best something.
Yeah.
All right, we got a chick thing. Might find this offensive,
Oh, no.
but
Is it like a spank sound?
no, it's like I've been drilling down on what I call chick think, and it's not good for society. But also, there's a lot of dudes who think like women, like Gavin Newsom.
Sure.
Thinks like a woman. Everyone in Los Angeles who's sort of in power has like chick think. Like Eric Garcetti was the mayor, but he's basically he's a male, but he thinks like a female.
Yeah.
And then there's females. Megyn Kelly's a female, thinks like a dude. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily your gender.
Sure.
So it can go both
Yeah,
ways.
I'll probably, whatever it is, I'm going to be like, this is great.
So we'll see. What do you mean? You'll
You're
agree.
like, whore.
All right. So we'll now we try to get a leader and we try to anoint a winner. And we do it every couple of months. What do we got, Dawson? We have an opening. What do we have here?
We got a stinger for the end.
Okay. So what do we have for the opening?
This is Chick Think. Let's go ahead and pull one up. Let's pull up a leader in the clubhouse.
All right. So this is Nithya Raman, who I think is the winner because she's a city council woman from L.A. who blames Toyota for the thefts of the catalytic converters, and I think we'll hear that.
In this case, I think one of the things that really infuriates me is that we have a company, the Prius, Toyota, who makes the Prius, that essentially has a device on their cars, which is super easy to remove. It's basically the value of a MacBook, right? That is put in a place that is incredibly easy to access in your car. And then the thefts related to this issue have essentially all of the costs of that are given to us to bear instead of them having to manufacture a car that actually is not so easy to be stolen.
I don't really know what she's saying, but she's essentially blaming Toyota for people stealing catalytic converters by making it so super easy. What kind of car did you drive here?
I have a Honda Civic.
So if I said, Nithya Raman just said your catalytic converter is super easy to steal in a place that you can get it very easily. Mm-hmm. If I said to you right now, I will give you $1 million if you can get your catalytic converter off, and I will give you 1 hour. Do you think you could pull it off?
Am I able to do it with my hands?
No.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah, I'd be able to.
How would you do it?
I would Google and call somebody. An hour? Yeah.
You would Google, like, catalytic converter removal?
Yeah, and then I would go down to one of these auto shops.
And pay them?
Pay somebody.
To get it on,
pay
like him, like
$1,000
to just get it up on the lift and hacksaw it off.
Yeah. Are you saying that, like, she shouldn't be talking about it because she doesn't know how to take it off?
I'm saying she shouldn't be blaming Toyota for the theft of catalytic converters. I think that's on the thieves.
And it's also, I don't take anyone seriously that's preaching from a high school gym.
It's a venue, too.
Yeah. That's what is this?
Yeah, you're right. All right. Yeah, I guess you could do it, but you'd have to take it somewhere and do it, which is to say you couldn't just do it in the driveway.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
She's saying you could easily steal it in the driveway, except for you have to cut it out with a Sawzall.
It more worries me that this is an issue for her.
Yeah. Well, it's sad that it's become an issue in L.A.
Yeah.
Because
I feel
now
that.
it's sort of bizarre. It's our version of organ harvesting. All right. Now, the next one was...
Marcus Allen. This might be the leader.
This may be the leader. This is Ms. Sanchez questioning Mr. Allen, who's... I don't know if he's a Border Patrol guy or Secret Service guy or whatever, but... She thinks she's found his tweets, except for she hasn't.
He's an FBI whistleblower.
He's an FBI whistleblower, and she doesn't like it. All right, so here it is.
Thank you. Mr. Allen, have you ever used Twitter, yes or no?
I have utilized Twitter, yes.
Okay, and is your account at Marcus A970-50645?
That is absolutely not my account.
Okay, that's not your account. Well, on December 5th, 2022, an account under the name Marcus Allen retweeted a tweet that said,
That
quote,
is not my account, ma'am.
You haven't let me finish the question,
Might
sir.
have been the football player.
You haven't let me finish the question. On
All right.
and the time
The point is, she powered forward. She was moving forward anyway.
They're like, you don't even belong here. What are you talking about?
All right,
Ms.
so
Sanchez?
I don't know. That may be more chick think than Nithya Raman. I don't know.
I don't know. I just feel like these... I don't know what they're doing in their position of power. And I don't know if that's chick think or someone is in trouble for
It's an illogical approach to problems.
Yeah.
One was mechanical. That was the catalytic converter. This is a slightly more emotional.
This is some boyfriend shit.
She's just pushing forward.
Yeah, like I saw you post this.
I know you cheated. I know it. And it's like I didn't, and I'm moving forward.
Sure, I can be for it. I'll be for it. She's just calling him out.
All right, so what do you think's more... let's not use the term chick thing. What do you think makes less sense? Blaming Toyota for people sawing off their catalytic converters that are welded under the middle of their car, or continuing a line of question on a Twitter page that has that account that isn't the person you're talking to?
What makes more sense?
Or less. I'm not asking what more.
think
Neither
Toyota.
one makes sense.
Toyota, probably. Let's
Toyota
bring
makes-
it to everyone's attention. I'm sure they're fixing it, right? Is there a way to get it so it's not easily
Toyota's fixing it?
removable? Are they?
No, they're
But
not.
they should.
But why would they?
I mean, maybe if it got more attention online. I don't know. I'm going more towards that one. They're both
Toyota.
ridiculous.
But there's nothing Toyota can do. It's just a thing that's welded underneath the bottom of your car.
They can't put like I'm going to sound real stupid. They can't put like some sort of cover that's like impossible to remove.
Well, they could. There is a way to do that would just add more money to the price of the car, more weight to the price of the car. But
we go.
you could do it. But then what about people who just stole stereos in cars or rear view mirrors or like
Yeah.
any other rims,
Yeah.
car tires? Like
miss those
they'd have to
days.
put steel plates over everything. Is
Sure.
what I'm
Just
saying.
shitty people. Yeah. I mean, I guess the Toyota one, it makes more sense than the accusing somebody of tweets that aren't theirs.
All right.
I have a feeling, though,
right,
it is
so-
him.
So that Marcus Allen.
Yeah.
All right. So she's the leader in the clubhouse for not making sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we got one more, and this is from 2019. I forgot about this one. I'm only bringing it up because Kamala Harris is in the news. She's questioning. Who's she questioning? Homeland Security. You guys can figure out his title. You should have his title there. Sorry, or maybe I have it here.
No, it was wrong to do
Why was it wrong?
because those are offensive words.
Why are they offensive?
Because they have history in this country, and I honestly did not mean it that way.
But please talk about the history. What is the history that would then make those words wrong?
Well, the Klan was what we would call today a domestic terrorist group
Why? Why would we call them domestic terrorist group?
because they tried to use fear and force to change political environment.
And what was the motivation for the use of fear and
It was
force?
based on race and ethnicity.
Right. Are you aware of the perception of many about how the power and the discretion at ICE is being used to enforce the laws? And do you see any parallels?
I do not see any parallels between
I'm talking about perception.
officers and agents.
I'm talking about perception.
I do not see a parallel between what is constitutionally mandated as it relates to enforcing the law.
Are you aware
protecting
that there's a
people's rights.
perception?
I see no.
Are you aware
perception
that there's a
that puts
perception?
ICE in the same category as the KKK? Is that what you're asking me?
No, I'm very specific about what I'm asking you. Are you aware of a perception that the way that the discretion
I see no parallel.
I'm not finished.
I see none.
I'm not finished. I'm not finished. Are you aware that there's a perception that ICE is administering its power in a way that is causing
All right.
fear?
So she wants to know if he's aware that there's a perception
Is that what that was?
that ICE.
Jesus Christ.
It's immigration custom enforcement. And she's not saying it's like the Klan. She's saying somebody thinks it's like the Klan or there's a perception. And then he's going, I don't think of it like the Klan
Yeah.
at all. And then she goes, but what about the perception?
She's really pushing the KKK.
So, but my thing is, I don't know what perception is. Like, who is it? Who are we talking about? It's not. He's saying it's not. I'm not sure what she wants him to agree to. There are people, you can find a handful of people that thinks the earth is flat, and you can find a bunch of people who agree with Putin, and you can find a bunch of people to have a perception of anything, but that doesn't really make the entity responsible for it, is what I'm saying. I don't know. Takes is the Marcus Allen still a leader in the clubhouse?
I feel like she was like punishing a child at school. I don't know. This was a weird one.
Well, it's weird in that she was trying to get him to answer a question, and he was trying to answer it by saying, I don't think ICE is anything like.
Yeah.
And then she kept saying, but what about the perception?
Yeah, he
that
should
it's
have
like?
just been like, whatever.
Well,
sure.
People have thoughts. Yes, I don't know who the people are, that they're wrong.
No, yeah, this seems like a personal thing.
Personal. All right. So we'll still give the Marcus Allen Lady Sanchez.
I don't know. I think Kamala takes it on this.
Well,
because
Kamala's higher profile.
Perception is almost the definition of chick think. It's not the facts. We dance around them about what people think about them, and we use flowery language.
I do. I've definitely dealt with women where they go, you know, everyone thinks you're a douchebag. And then I go, they do? And they go, yep. I go, I don't know. Feel like I have a lot of friends. And they go, yeah, but there are people out there. And I go, yep. And then they go, they think you're a douchebag. And I go, well, why do I have the same friends for the last 25 years?
Well,
how does that work? And then they go, well, that's the perception. And I go, I don't know what to do about the perception.
Yeah, this reminds me of like waking up from a dream where your boyfriend cheats on you and you're like pissed at him.
Yeah,
like it doesn't hold. You know what I mean? But I'm like, but you did it.
Well, I found with dreams, if you have a dream with your boyfriend cheated on you and you wake up, you do understand it was a dream, but so you're only half pissed at him now, which doesn't really make sense at all because you should be zero pissed at him because it was a dream. But it's like, I dreamt it. It didn't happen. So I'm only like 33% pissed.
Yeah, you have to talk yourself. It happened to me recently. Yeah, I had one. And then I was talking to my boyfriend about it and we were laughing about it. And I said, and then for probably the next day, I was like, I feel like he might do this. Like a woman's intuition. I'm like, that might have been it.
Yeah.
So maybe she has a point.
She had a dream.
She had a dream.
ICE was perceived like the Klan.
She might have.
Yeah. Oh, she's sing-songy and condescending. It's awesome.
That's chick think.
I still got Ms. Sanchez as a leader because the other two lived in some hazy form of some kind of retarded reality somewhere. Hers was simply, she knocked on a door, and she was like a cop knocking on a door in an apartment, and it was like, is Brad Johnson in here? And he went, oh, Brad Johnson's in 2B. This is 1B. And he went, well, I'm going to continue on with my questioning. Like, well, he's not here. He's not in this unit. He's in the unit above me. And they went,
yeah.
Still moving forward.
Sure. I mean, she really owned it. We got to give her that.
I do like the guy tried to help her out. It's like, maybe it was Marcus Allen, the football player.
Yeah.
He's pretty famous, Marcus Allen. Moving on. Excuse me. All right. We need more of her in government. Patrick Warburton is here. And I know we got the news to do, but maybe we'll bring Patrick in since he's been hanging out, and then we'll talk to him, and then we'll talk news. We'll just kind of combine everything.
Sure.
That all right?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. Take a break. Bring in Patrick Warburton. We'll do that right after this. Simply Safe. Imagine a burglary. Shady character in the dark, right? Well, that's what you see on TV. But according to FBI, the FBI says most break-ins happen in broad daylight during the summer, when homes are unattended. That's why you need Simply Safe. Everyone here has used Simply Safe since they began sponsoring the show, and it's been well over a decade. It works. It's modular. You don't have to pull wires and drill holes, and it's up and running in like half an hour. You just order it all online, and then when you move, you just take it with you. They got Fast Protect monitoring and live guard protection. Simply Safe agents can act within 5 seconds and speak to the intruder so they can, well, that's got to be tough on an intruder. Less than $1 a day, no long-term contracts, cancel anytime. Protect your home this summer with 20% off, Simply Safe. When you sign up for Fast Protect monitoring, just visit simplysafe.com/Adam. We love these guys. It's a great product. simplysafe.com/Adam. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
The Adam Carolla Show presents Patrick Warburton's birthday cocktail party for November 14th. Let's see who's invited. A couple of classical music dignitaries have entered the party. Leopold Mozart, the father of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, and Johann van Beethoven, Ludwig's father. Here's French Impressionist painter Claude Monet. Entering the party right now, the American senator who claimed communists infiltrated the U.S. government, Joseph McCarthy. Let's welcome the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Boutros Ghali. One of the actors from MASH, McLean Stevenson, is here. Let's welcome former Los Angeles Dodger, Jim Brewer. And here's the current King of England, Charles III. The list goes on with Stephen Bishop. Condoleezza Rice is here. Josh Duhamel is here. Former Green Bay Packer and my brother's former lab partner in high school chemistry, Aaron Taylor. From Blink-182, it's Travis Barker. And the producer of The Brady Bunch and Gilligan's Island, the Ace Man's favorite, Sherwood Swartz is here. Patrick Warburton is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Warburton in studio's got a new film that shall be coming out, and I'll tell you about it. It's called The Duel. I watched a trailer about a half hour ago. Very strong. Well done. Look good, Patrick.
Thanks. That was a lot of fun.
Patrick, good guy, good friend. I like to hang with Patrick.
We did some damage last time. You killed it in that karaoke song. You did, was it Vehicle?
By the Ides of March. Yeah, you're too young to know Vehicle.
I didn't know you guys were karaoke guys.
Oh, yeah. I went over to Patrick's house.
A good buzz is wasted without karaoke.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a good good point.
Yeah.
Speaking of songs, in that birthday cocktail party, Dawson made the Stephen Bishop reference and alluded to something, but I don't know if anyone else in this building got it other than me.
Probably not.
What did you say? And the list goes on and on.
On and on.
Right.
With Stephen Bishop.
Anybody in this building got that joke or the reference? We'll have to look around. Because Patrick's about the right age and knows music. Pearl Jam guy, but
yes, and Seattle guy and classic rock guy.
Bishop, Stephen Bishop, and the list goes on and on.
No.
Well, that's all you had, Dawson, was Patrick Warburton. If he doesn't get it, then nobody in this building does.
No.
Now, one thing I've learned from the society, but Patrick, you can tell me this. There is no young person that gets any fucking references at all 100% of the time, and they don't give two fucks about it. Whereas when I was young, I remember people would make a reference that was an old reference. I'd be like, oh, I got to look it up. Or, yeah, I got it. I'd pretend to know it, and then I'd go home and go, what was it, or whatever. Now it's like, eat a dick, old man. I'm not old. Fuck off. Like, no one goes... Literally, you just go, you never heard of Al Jolson? No, because I'm not a fucking mummy, old man. I've died. They don't go, inform me. They just go, fuck off.
It would be weird if I knew that, right? You'd be a little freaked out.
If you knew, Stephen Bishop?
Sure.
No.
First Jerry Rafferty, Baker Street.
Rafferty,
yeah. Steely Dan fits in there, but
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're right. There's no shame in the game of yacht rock. Yeah, so I did Vehicle over at Patrick's place.
Killed it.
Just, look, not for me to say, but I saw some heads popping.
It was pretty solid. You wouldn't have posted it on social if you didn't think you killed it. You killed it.
Next time I do Hell is for Children by Pat Benatar, because there will not be a dry eye in that house when I'm done with Hell is for Children, man. And it kicks in at the end hard, too. Yeah.
It really does, yeah. It's an uplifter.
Patrick, I was thinking back, and I remember you on this show once talking about your family of origin, and your mom was a deeply religious person. Tell me if I'm making this up, who would go door to door and share the good news, or am I fabricating this?
No, she did, and I did find this out later, that when I was about 13 years old, wandered around our neighborhood passing out pamphlets on the sins of masturbation. Which,
yeah.
That's right.
So I say did not get me in the cool crowd.
When you were about 13?
Yeah.
Specifically the sins of masturbation?
Well, I never read it. I just got word from a buddy of mine. Oh, yeah, she was giving these pamphlets to my mom, and that got back to me. And so she might not have been going door to door, but she was doing enough damage and just passing them out to the mothers of friends of mine. So it was,
Sweet.
Yeah, and I went to school with them, so, that got around.
Do you think she handed it to any atheist families that actually use it as a jackrag? Because that's a possibility.
What are the
Atheists
sins
pretty
of masturbation?
I hope so. Oh, good Lord.
Well, there's
Who
the
knows?
physical part. There's the eyesight.
Yeah. Listen, I grew up, my family, my father was actually in the monastery for 3 months. So
Wow.
he almost became a monk. He was in Gethsemane in Tennessee. And Thomas Merton was his spiritual advisor, who's this very famous Catholic scholar. But knowing my father, Thomas Merton was more forward-thinking than my father. My father probably left the monastery because it wasn't conservative enough.
Really?
And I grew up in a house with 3 younger sisters, and so they're very strict. The only 2 TV shows we were allowed to watch all year, or during the week, were Little House on the Prairie and The Wonderful World of Disney, and that was it. But my mother was actually worse religious than my father. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They begged me for years to get off the Family Guy.
Oh,
and my
right.
mom actually
that's
works with the
opposite.
Parents Television Council. She donates money to the Parents Television Council.
Wow.
And their biggest fish to fry is to get Family Guy off the air.
Oh, really?
She tried to get me to sign a petition, and I had to remind her what I did. I was like, Mom,
You're like, do you like money?
you know what I do? This is what's putting your 4 grandkids through college. And by the way, I'm helping support you and Dad with Family Guy money. So this is the most ironic donation in the history of the world. You are taking this Family Guy money and you are laundering it through Catholicism and the BT.
Wow. Was your experience
amazing.
with Family Guy, tell me if this rings true. Seth MacFarlane is notoriously late, but nobody can really fault him because he's alive today because he was late.
Yes.
So he was late for his flight out of Logan and then hit the tower on 9/11. So you can't really hassle that guy for being late because he gets to
Because
come
it's-
back.
it
It's the
saved
greatest
his life.
comeback ever, which is we're only here.
I recall speaking with him the day after 9/11.
The day
or
after?
It was either the day after or the day after because he had rented a car from Boston to drive back and sort of gave me the whole story real fresh.
Fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'll tell you the beats that I remember. He was doing some gig or something there, had a early morning flight, had a little cross wire with the assistant, thought it was thought it was 8 a.m. when it was 7 a.m. or some 8:30 and 9:30 or something. But he's kind of a late guy anyway. Gets to the airport. Like a lot of people that go, I could have been on that flight 7 months earlier. I canceled my plans. It's like, no, that's not could have been on that. This is at the airport trying to get on to the flight that hit the tower. That's a little hairier.
So to the best of my recollection, and I feel like I remember this pretty succinctly, was that he could have gotten on the plane.
Oh, he could have.
He could have, but he would have had to hustle. And he said, I'm first class. I know that the doors weren't closed to the plane, whatever, and I still had enough time to get there. But I guess the gal behind the counter said, look, there's another flight in an hour. If you want to go chill and just catch. And he goes, yeah, he's hungover and he's late. So
Oh, he could have made. They didn't even close the door.
Literally could have made it.
Oh my God, that's even worse.
Yeah,
or
just
better, or
just-
whatever.
I know.
So he's a late guy, which is fine because he's alive. And then when you do voiceover work for Family Guy, you would go to this building off of Wilshire and Miracle Mile, and then I would do the voice of death, and then I would get there after work and doing mornings, and then I'd go, all right, let's lay it down, because I worked at KLSX across the street, and then I would walk over there after I got done doing mornings, and it'd be like 11 in the morning, and I'd go, let's do this, and they'd go, Seth's not here yet. And then I'd go, it's just a couple of pickup lines, I'll give you 3 versions. And by the way, it's not high, I'm not Daniel Day-Lewis over here. I'm just doing death. I'll give you 3 versions of, and they go, yeah, Seth kind of needs to be here. And I'd go, really, you need to be here. It doesn't need, it's 2 lines. And then I'll just knock them off. And they'd go, we really just want to wait for Seth. And then we'd all sit around and wait for Seth. And then he'd show up a half hour later. And then we'd lay it down. And he'd do Peter. And I'd always go, don't give me half-ass Peter, even though you're not being recorded. Read me full fucking Peter Griffith. I want you going, stand up. I want you going hard, which you have fun with, but you do it. And then I started noticing after Ted came out and other movies and projects and lots of business for Seth McFarland, I started showing up going, oh, fuck, we got to wait for Seth. And they'd go, nah, we're just going to lay it down. And I'd go like, where's Seth? And they'd go, he's, we can just do it this way. We don't need him.
Well, he wasn't directing. He hasn't been
really
directing
busy
in ages because he got so busy. So now he's like the man behind the curtain, he's the wizard.
Right. But did you notice he really needed to be there at the beginning? And
well,
now
I think they
it's
always
a little less?
they always want the director, whoever the director is, the director's got to be there, I guess, just to make sure. Yeah, he hasn't been there for a long time. The only time I ever see Seth maybe is at the annual holiday party.
Yeah, the Christmas party.
I have a question. What was Seth? Is he late because of 9/11? Is that what his excuse is now, or he was just a late person in general to things?
Oh,
like is he using that now as like the 9/11 thing?
I think he's late. Like people are late. Some people are late. So it's kind of a disease. People just have it or they don't have it, like sickle cell or something. It's just there or it's not. Crohn's, you know what I mean? I've learned in human beings lateness. I treat it more like a disease now. It's not even it's not something you can really talk them out of lupus or something.
That's
They're
true.
just late. You know what I mean? So Seth is just late, but he's rich and he's only alive because he's
there you
late.
go.
So you're not really going to tune him up.
no.
Sure. No one likes a poor person that's late.
No.
It works. It works
Yeah, when
for
you're
him.
poor and you're late, people they keep you on a pretty short leash, When you're rich and you're late, they don't hassle you that much because, like, if you're the last one to show up at dinner and you guys are getting steaks and martinis, you're probably paying.
Yeah.
So we're not going to ride you that hard.
And
You know what I'm
missing
saying?
out on at least one martini.
Yeah, we're one ahead. That's right. We may go to Warburton's place, sing a little karaoke after a third.
That's right.
That's the way I like it.
It's on the game. It usually gets on the itinerary.
There's a picture of me from Jimmy Kimmel's living room on the screen singing karaoke in like 2004. If you just want to know.
You're all in. You're all in.
I don't mail in the effort, Patrick. You got a front row seat to that. I'm in or look. I don't care if there's 3 people out there or it's a 2,000 seat venue. You get the exact same performance from the Ace Man.
That's the beauty.
It's called being a pro, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't care how big the house is. You're going to go out there and you're going to give them a show.
That's right, because those people, I always hate it when comedians or any kind of performer goes out and it's like, it's a venue that holds 1,000 people and 86 people showed up. And then the guy goes out and starts berating the 86 people like, great.
Yeah.
And that feels real good.
Yeah, I
And
guess
it's
we could have just done the show in the elevator or my living room.
Yeah, I don't know why I should have just had you guys come to the lobby of the hotel that I'm staying at. And it's like, hey, bitch, these people did pay and come out. These are the last people on the planet that you should be berating.
By the way, it's not their fault that there are 86 people here.
Well, now what they're doing, like PR moves, if you don't sell enough tickets, all of a sudden these artists are like, mental health, guys, I can't do the tour.
Yeah.
Or I hurt my leg.
That's a go-to now.
And I'm like,
That's a
oh,
go-to.
genius.
Oh, yeah.
Exhaustion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exhaustion and dehydration means drug addict. Because, like, back in the day when they'd go, like, the lead singer from Blur has to miss some dates because of dehydration. It's like, he's 26. and this would be like in 1994. Like, there's no such thing as dehydration and exhaustion when you're a 26-year-old fucking dude. And, by the way, you don't do anything. You stand on stage and you sing.
There is so much code and bullshit out there, but I think people can read between the lines. But, they do the best they can to just disguise all of that.
So your parents, this is a conundrum, Patrick, because my parents have no interest in my professional life and are completely unsupportive and really have no idea what I do even. And have always been that way. But they're not aggressively fighting against what I do. They simply don't know. what I do and have zero interest in it, which is its own form of pain and punishment. But your parents are kind of going next level, which is trying to talk you out of what you're doing, which shows that they're attentive, at least in a way, but it's negative.
Yeah. Well, but then the reason they do is because they're so very religious and they see certain things as being sacrilegious. And, it's all about, God and salvation and whatnot. And they don't understand the nature of satire and that God would have to have a sense of humor. Look at us all. But that's the way they would see it. And and they believe that, that the consequences of this are grave. And I remember one time my father, he called me up and left a message on my phone. And he just said, Patrick, in a future episode of Family Guy, God is sitting in a lazy boy chair next to a bottle of lotion getting ready to masturbate. I wish you would get off that show. Click. And that was it. And, and I could never have that conversation.
Why is he watching Family? See, my parents have no fucking idea. They never saw one episode of The Man Show. They fed to him?
No, yes, through my mother and through the PTC, they would get wind of it. So he would see it without any context, just the writing, and it's a future episode. So they would get wind of this, and that this is coming.
There's a rat in.
There's a rat.
In the Family Guy?
Maybe.
It is kind of beautiful, though, that they stuck by their religion. Right?
Is it, Listen, I say
they were
this.
Like, fuck the children.
I say this. I was brought up in a family where, we were Catholics, so we learned about what cults were. And they would always remind us, what was a cult. And so from my experience growing up, I see cultish aspects in all religion, And I say, as a neurotic Catholic, every time I watch a documentary, because I like watching them on cults, right? Yeah. I'm afraid that just watching this documentary is going to get me indoctrinated. Yeah. Like at the end of it, because I just watched that Heaven's Gate one.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
By the end, I was like, I can get my balls cut off and fly in a spaceship. This looks awesome.
I was watching Lou Pearlman, the Svengali behind the Backstreet Boys and all that.
Last night.
Yeah. You watch that last night?
Last night.
Me too.
Yeah.
We weren't together, were we?
No, we weren't together.
Oh, okay, just for clarity. I know.
It was cold at your house, huh?
Yeah, what? Yeah, I wanted to be a fireman, but they wouldn't let me because I was white. Sucked. But anyway, but I am poor first, before I'm white. And they're like, nah, you have to wait. So Family Guy's wildly offensive. Family Guy had a scene of ye old abortion clinic or something, and it was just a staircase that went up 2 stories and the women just fell off. They just walked up the front and fell off the back, and I was like, man, I'm an atheist and even I'm a little offended. But it is do we have that? There must be some compilation of the most offensive Family Guy
life
things.
Boy, everything's shaping up real nice.
Yeah, and we finally finished the town abortion clinic.
Oh, it is. I was right. Well, I guess I was pretty dead nuts on that joke. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. There were Death said, I think it was Norm Macdonald, but one of my favorite, brutal jokes like Death showed up. I think it was when Norm Macdonald was Death, and then I became Death. But Death showed up to get Peter or something, and Peter just started running down the sidewalk as fast as he can, away from Death. And Death said, I caught Flojo, I can catch you. And it's like Florence Griffith-Joyner died when she was 20, it's 40 of just a heart attack as a U.S. sprinter.
Yeah.
And it was that was such a brutal Flojo reference joke. No.
I was like, me?
No. She was one of the most decorated female Olympic sprinters of all time. And recent, 90s, 80s, 90s or something.
I think Atlanta was her last games, I think.
Well, we can look, but then just mysteriously died incredibly young in her bed, I think. Just died in her sleep kind of thing. She
of natural causes?
Assassin's bullet.
Nice.
No, a natural cause. Just woke up Dead.
Oh.
Yeah, just died in her. Just died in her
Dehydration.
Florence Griffith-Joyner, like when you were in grade school or something, they weren't talking about her or something?
No, I've never even seen this
I
lady.
feel like she'd be like an icon to women. She was she was sort of the, Michael Jackson of female,
wow.
Michael Jordan, I should say, Michael Jordan, or Jackson. It doesn't really matter.
Interesting, please
Of
explain.
female athletes, like known, celebrated.
Oh, I feel bad. No, I don't know. I've never seen this lady.
Her last Olympics was 88 in South Korea.
88.
Her first one
Oh,
was
that's where I
84 in LA.
was born in 88.
Right. So, yeah. But I always kind of wonder why, I know who Jesse James is and General MacArthur is and stuff like that. I wonder whether the Flojos don't make it past, into the, like as a 7-year-old girl, they should have been saying, Flojo was such a great, strong woman,
That's how it is now, right?
I guess.
With, like the gymnasts, like the USA gymnasts.
Yeah. All right, do we have Norm doing Flojo? The Flojo joke? Or is that me?
Hey, Death, you got a file on me?
Yeah, somewhere. It's in the car, I think.
Does it mention that I ran 2 weeks of junior varsity track?
Let's not do this. Hey, look, I caught Flo, Joe. You don't think I can catch you? My ankle!
Yeah. That's a brutal joke because she died so young. But that's what they do over there.
Yeah.
Your dad didn't have any beef when the black woman died, though, did he?
Yes, he would have.
Okay. So now, are you in communication with your parents on a regular basis?
Oh, yeah, Mom, regularly. Yeah. 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 That's the same thing, yeah.
And what is it? How did we spring from their loins? Do we ever really think about that? Like, I would sit with my mom. My mom was one of the least funny human beings I've ever met in my life. Like, there was nobody less funny than my mom. Nobody who didn't get things more than my mom. No one who was sort of more dour and serious than my mom. No bigger bummer and less of a fun person with zero fucking sense of humor than my mom, who had zero interest in anything I like. I like, racing cars and building houses and doing comedy. Yeah. Didn't like any of it, never heard of any of it, didn't want to know any of it. And I would sometimes just sit across from her and I'd just go, well, how did this even work?
She sounds great.
Oh, awesome. No. Dude,
well,
awesome.
My mother
muffins.
is 86 years old, and she's funny, and she's charming, and she looks amazing at 86. She doesn't look anywhere near her age. But, she has scrupulosity, which means that almost everything she has to talk about, or its religiosity, has to do with religion and Catholicism.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a thing. It's a sort of an OCD thing, in a way. I had OCD when I was a kid. It was horrible. And it steals just your life and joy from you. And I remember when I spoke to my father, when I had despair, like I was a mess. I'd climb down my balcony sometimes at 1 o'clock in the morning as a 13-year-old kid and run around the block just in a sweat because I was so messed up. And I told my dad, I go, I have despair. And he's a medical doctor. And he said, well, having despair is a sin. Yeah. So it was really heavy shit. My parents, though, were great parents and loving parents, but they're different. My mom sent a picture of my dad when, he was in a folding chair outside on the streets at gay marriage protest in Destin, Florida. But I would say this, he also, this is a man who would cross borders and take care of kids with polio. And back in the day, when everybody who had AIDS was dying from AIDS, I had a manager who got it. He only lasted 9 months, but when he was sick and he had nowhere to go, my parents took him into their house and took care of him until he died.
Wow.
Yeah. So he might have been one way. He was old school and just thought straight people should get married, not realizing that everybody deserves to be miserable if that's what they choose to do.
So when you're 13...
I love my wife. Let me, just in case she gets wind of that.
You would crawl down your balcony and you'd run around the block just because you were kind of coming out of your skin?
Yes.
And you just needed some sort of release?
Yes. breathe
It was
some air.
OCD thoughts, right? Not the actual rituals.
It was rituals, yeah.
too.
Yeah, like every room I'd walk into, if there was a crucifix on the wall, I had to kiss the feet of the crucifix. And I don't know if I observed my mother doing that one time or not, but I just always felt like I needed to do that.
I'm wearing a crucifix belt buckle right now, Patrick.
That's actually why you're here.
Still in you.
I'm on my
Exposure
way.
therapy.
I can crawl over there.
So what? And how did you become cured of this?
You know, it wasn't really through therapy or anything. It might have had a little bit to do with it because I never even really saw a shrink until, much later in life, maybe in my 20s. But realizing what these things were and understanding that, although it wasn't, normal, this isn't something that you have to have that will ruin your life. And just, I somehow or another, I was able to just sort of overcome OCD. I just did.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you in that. I think there's too much medication prescribed and too many people on the spectrum and too much of this. I think a lot of hiking and a lot of classical music and a lot of like cold plunges and a lot of drunken karaoke and there's a lot of stuff you can do.
Yes.
Where if you really just think you take, like, we'll do an extreme math, right? You go, okay, I have problems and I have thoughts and I have foibles, although I really have less than everybody else, what other people think is a problem. But sometimes I go, I don't really care about that. And I go, you go wash your hands before you touch that. And I go, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. And I go, you need to, the people are trying to suck me into this world. And I just go, I don't care. I'm not interested. But you have your problems, your foibles, your worries, right? But I'm going to go do a car race, and every second I'm in that car, I will not have any of those thoughts. I'll have zero thoughts because I'll only have the thought about the car and racing the car.
Yeah.
So you go, well, you can get rid of those thoughts. Well, you're in a race car.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Well, now, how about in the forest, like sweating, like working, like hiking, or listening to Wagner or something like that? You go, well, yeah, I would have less than being in the city and sitting in a cubicle and, sucking up Starbucks. Like, so you go, okay. And what if you fell into this, like, a freezing cold brook of water? Like, if you're just sitting and then you go, no, I don't think I would have. I'd have thoughts about getting out of the water. So you go, okay, you can kind of get rid of them. These extreme examples, being in a freezing cold body of water, being in a race car.
You brought that up a couple times. Do you have a cold plunge?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I just got one. Yeah, we got one, and but we need like the 220 volt. You know what? You're really good at this shit. If you come over to my house and hook it up, because it's been sitting there empty for 2 months now.
Is your house still falling off the foundation?
No, we put it in an area where we don't have the 220, and I got to get the electric.
I don't think you need the 240 as they're calling it now. They used to call it 220. Now they're up to 240.
Oh, is it?
Just
Okay.
so you know.
All right.
Just so you don't get ripped off by the
Do
electrician.
you have the heat too?
Yeah, so we have the cold and the heat. From what I understand, though, when you go in the cold, you shouldn't go in the heat because how it gives
Wait,
you the
have
benefits.
the cold tub?
Yeah, it's a cold tub next to a hot tub.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're all, but it's one unit?
It's one unit.
Oh, that's where you need the 240 because the cold, I have a cold tub. You just plug it into wall current.
Right.
It's the hot
Yes.
that takes the amperage.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yeah. So maybe, is there a way to just plug it into household current and not heat the hot part, just cool the cool part?
I guess we could, but we got the whole damn thing, and so instead of just keeping the one side.
So they make a combo now?
Yeah, it's a combo. Yeah,
Is that
it's
safe?
the Michael Phelps. Yeah.
Oh, it's the Michael Phelps swim spa thing?
Chili goat.
Really?
It's called, yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Sounds like something AM/PM would sell to truckers who are hungry. But I get it. Wow. Oh, so you got to get some power.
Yeah.
Well, where's your in your garage? Where's your home run? Where's your panel?
Well, there's a couple. There's one at the house, then out by the barn and the swimming pool and all that.
Sub panel.
Yeah,
out
but
there.
we didn't want to put one all the way out there. We thought we want to put it right outside the back door of the house, so that
Well, the closer you can get to the panel, the less it's going to cost.
Yeah.
The further you get from the panel, the more it's going to cost. So if you can hang out near your panel, probably 200 amps, I'm guessing, just from seeing your home.
Right. You're going to ask me questions right now that are going to make me look less and less like a man who can accomplish anything, because I just don't know where the shit is. I don't know.
All right. Well, that's fine. But get it. Your panel's probably in your garage. The closer you can get to the panel, the easier, cheaper it's going to be.
I have a toolbox.
Yeah, there's nothing in it, but it's got the box.
I go to it every now and then.
Very handy, though. Like, if I saw you, I'd ask you to hang something for me.
Right, but the extent of it is, that's it. I could hang a picture. Yeah. I get the hammer out of the toolbox and then the right nail, and I'll put a picture up. That's
you look competent. That's a thing.
I can play competent. I played a NASA scientist in a movie, and my buddy, he walked out of it, and he goes, "This is the best acting you've ever done." He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "You're a NASA scientist." He goes, "I know you can't program a VCR, and you had me sold as a NASA scientist."
Well, it is kind of, it's my George Clooney theory, which is everyone goes like, what's George going to do about this next election? And he's probably going to tell Biden to step down. And probably talking to Obama about telling Biden to step down. I'm like, who decided George Clooney knew everything? And it's we go, look at him. He knows what he's doing. It's like, I don't know, maybe he's a fucking idiot. I don't really know. And they're like, what do you mean he's an idiot? Look at him. Look at his jaw. He knows what he's doing. And I'm like, I don't know that it's all about just looking like you're smart, But Patrick looks smart. And then obviously people are disappointed when they get to know you.
Yeah.
And then there's me.
Patrick kind of looks like a firefighter. Do you get
he
that
does.
A little bit. I could have done that.
He could look like anything. He looks like a guy could fly a plane or put out a fire or hook up a swim spa. He looks like a lot of things. He looks very competent.
Failed out of junior college.
I know, but look at him. He looks like he knows what he's doing.
Can't read, but he looks.
I told you, right, that they made me Alumni of the Year and commencement speaker last year.
Oh, really? The junior college you failed out of?
Yep.
Or is it Orange Coast College?
Orange Coast College. I'm wearing the t-shirt right now. Yeah.
Oh, well, went to Golden West for a little bit.
Oh, did you? Mm-hmm. All right. Golden Waste and Tangerine Tech. Those are the names that they went by, yeah.
So they threw you out.
Well, they didn't throw me out. I just sort of slowly just sort of
sloughed
failed
off.
I was rowing cruise, so I rowed boats for 2 hours every morning. And then I didn't start drinking coffee yet, so I'd fall asleep in every one of my classes. But when they bestowed this honor upon me, I told the nice lady from the college, I said, I didn't finish. And she goes, we know that. And then I said, your alumni pool must not be that deep. And she said, nothing. And I said, how much does it pay? And whatever, I'll be there.
No, sweet.
And listen, you're a winner when you come back as a conquering hero to a place you didn't excel at. If you were valedictorian or something, then it's not that big a deal. But the fact that you flamed out over there and then came back like MacArthur returning to the Philippines.
Alexis
guess. Reference?
Sure.
We got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I just didn't want to fix things. I didn't want to start going back to class. I didn't want to try to, save the grades. And I realized that I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. And so I just got out to do what I wanted to do.
But now your kids are smart, right?
Yeah, they're really smart.
One is like the NASA scientist, right?
Yeah. Well, there's Talon, who's 31. He's 6'4". I was actually a pro bodybuilder at one point, and he's been working his ass off. I'm doing motion capture and all kinds of games and VO work in acting. And Gabriel's an actor. My son Shane is 25. He's a pilot. He's a flight instructor.
That's
winners.
He's
getting married on the 3rd, and then he's going into the Navy to be a naval aviator. And there's my daughter who's married to a sheriff. So
that's solid, man. Yeah. I know.
They all did great. Yeah, none of them are messed up. But we brought him up differently than we got brought up, I had nothing in common with my dad. Nothing really in common. But I remember asking my son Talon when he was 19, I go, what are your 3 favorite bands? He goes, Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and Pearl Jam. And those are mine. It's like, it's great. The generational gap between us and our dads was so much bigger than the ones today. I'm like the older brother who's learned as much from them as they have from me, and we've always had great communication. They never became rebellious assholes and did all the shit that I did.
Well, was it a generational gap, or was it a sort of an ethos? Like, my dad wasn't there to be my friend. He didn't give a fuck about any of my friends.
Right. But that's because that came from how they were and this and that. And we somehow changed it in our generation,
Well,
we were able to change that.
Yeah, we decided to, bridge that gap a little bit. Maybe we overdid it. There was a little too much of that now, Like I I had a girl, like shit you can't believe. It comes out in the form of their friends. You know what I mean? Like, I showed up back to my house once about 4 years ago, and one of my daughter's friends roller skated past me inside my house, just down the hardwood, like down the entry hall. I was like, "Hey, Mr. C," and just scooted past me, and I was like, I'm not uptight, but you probably shouldn't be roller skating in someone else's house, you know?
That's an extreme example, though.
And they sit, like when they sit on the sofa, there's a new move kids do, too. Actually, kids and younger women do it. They like to tuck their feet up onto the sofa, like underneath them.
What?
Oh, yeah. Like there's a lot of
Like
those
perched?
people. Yeah, they slide their foot up and set it down, or they set, and you go like, your shoes are
Yeah, I can't
on
do the shoes
the
on a sofa.
you know, and they go, what? Like, I would never...
All right, well, none of our...
I would never go to anybody's house when I was a kid and, like, put the shoes on the fucking sofa with the dad and talk to him, you know?
None of our four did that, even though we weren't that strict. We never hit them with a belt, you know? We never beat our kids. We just always had great communication. They've always been very, very respectful in all realms, you know, and impressed. All their friends are amazing people. My friends were all, you know, coming up were just as bad and dangerous as you know, I was. And just we were just a mess, and we did whatever damage we could. And they just have no inclination whatsoever to want to do that. And they're respectful.
Well, you were kind of we were kind of pushed into rebellion.
Yeah.
And also, you had to make your own fun.
Yeah.
And your own fun was something that was a little off back then. Like, you'd go, we should get on the roof of the neighbor's house and see if we can jump into the pool. You know, because we didn't have video games or electric bikes or whatever shit they had.
I was just talking about this last night. You know, yeah, we didn't have our cell phones in ours in. You know, we had the chewing tobacco, and we broke into the sewage plant. That was a thing.
Yeah.
Some of my greatest memories are in the sewage plant, which was remarkably clean, by the way. The tunnels, and we would go in and we'd go on commando raids. We would go to the Army Navy surplus store and we'd get black sweaters and black stuff.
Yeah.
And we'd break in at 11 o'clock at night. And they had guards. What we would do is we would evade the guards for like the first hour or two. And that's when we wanted to get some action. So one of us would get spotted. The guards would start chasing us. They never got us. And then they'd open up the gates to the plant. And that's when the black and whites would come in. There'd be police helicopters. And we'd be stuck in there till like 4 o'clock in the morning. And it was magical.
How old were you?
Wow.
Like 17 years old.
Yeah, that's what you do. Break into schools, get on roofs. You had to get on roofs. You had a lot of roofs. We had our elementary school had a auditorium, and there was a hatch on the top of it and a ladder. You could go down into the auditorium.
Yeah.
None of us wanted to be at school during school hours, but during non-school hours, we were somehow attracted to breaking into the school we didn't want to be in.
Yeah, that was
on
a thing.
Monday, and we'd climb up on all we did was climb on roofs. All we did was jump off roofs into swimming pools. We had a sewer run too, not the plant, but like the sewer run. Everything was about crawling around somewhere, sneaking around somewhere, and getting up on someone's roof. Being places you weren't supposed to be at.
Well, now you just get like, there's a fear of getting shot, I feel like, if
but
you do any of this stuff right now.
My son's not motivated for any of this shit. He does not want to do any of it.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's why he has a 60-inch TV in his room and high def this and a video game that, and 700 channels, and an electric bike.
Right.
What the
So
fuck
you
you
can
need to
escape
crawl
it.
around on a roof for?
They can escape into the games. We couldn't escape into games and stuff. They can go into an entirely different world in these games. They don't have to risk climbing a 10-foot wall, going into a sewage plant, and getting chased by police. You know what I'm saying? And all the trouble that comes with that. They, you know, they have distractions today that we didn't have. That's
we
why
had
went
to
out.
do stupid shit on BMX bikes and stuff. Like,
sure, we go catch lizards or whatever, you know.
And we just do stupid stuff.
Yeah.
They had the basin, and the Sepulveda Basin, like the flood control basin, was just a swamp. It still kind of is. And we just go trudge through the swamp. Like, that was it. Like,
I was in the mall and I saw a bunch of kids skateboarding through the mall and security guard yelling at them. And I'm like, that's
old
nice.
school.
Yeah, I'm for that. Let them do that.
Yeah, do
I have a Meepo board. Have you seen these things?
No.
You would dig this just because, so it's because I was still like a longboard and skateboard, and I had a buddy of mine and got one of these things. So it's got the tires are inflated with air. The thing weighs about 40 pounds because it's got like a Tesla battery underneath. It's got a range of about 40 miles, and you can go 30 miles an hour on this thing. Now, I wear a helmet and wrist guards because I don't want,
eat shit.
Yeah. But I still cruise this thing. It's so much fun.
I feel like I've seen them. Are they street
I've
legal?
seen people hauling ass
Yeah.
on those things down at the beach, down on the walk.
They're badass.
Patrick, by the way, two things. We're going to be performing together. That'll be August 9th, and that'll be at the Reno Automotive Museum, or Automobile Museum, I believe is the actual name of the place. Yeah. I got a bunch of my Paul Newman cars over there. I don't think you've been there or seen those cars.
No, but I did see those cars initially when you had them at your other joint out here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's really cool. I got like 13 cars over there. I got a whole Paul Newman racing display over there. And then we're going to be doing some stand-up there, because I know you're doing stand-up now, right?
Yeah, I'm doing everything in the opposite order. I did it for a minute when I was 20, and I never went back.
Stand-up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm such a stand-up snob that I realized, in order to be a good stand-up, and you would know this, you have to eat, drink, sleep, and breathe this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I got my feet wet because I was doing this Letters from a Nut show, and I realized
that's the Seinfeld Barry Martyr show, right?
But I'd open the show with 10 or 15 minutes, and I realized that was the most fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I sort of got my feet wet there, and I go, all right, I'm going to dabble in this. And so I had some fun. But last night I headlined for the first time in my life ever. The most I'd ever done was like 20 or 30 minutes. I did 70 minutes last night.
70 minutes?
Yeah, at the Irvine Improv, sold out 500. It was an awesome night. Yeah.
Didn't that feel good?
It felt awesome. And it's for the first time in just ages, I actually feel like I earned it, because I feel like I steal money when I work as an actor or whatever I'm doing.
For this one.
And because it's my own material. I write all my own stuff. It's all anecdotal. I just really, really dug it. But I'm like the Colonel Kurtz, I guess, of stand-up, 59 going into this shit. But I love it.
No, I agree. And you'll find that you'll be better when you're 62 than 59, which seems totally counterintuitive, but makes my argument of why firefighters get to retire at age 50 doesn't make sense to me. When you were 50, it was like, we're just getting started, you know?
Yeah.
But you will, it's counterintuitive because we live in a society where you basically hit your 40th birthday and then there's this kind of decline and you just sort of start sliding down the back end of the hill and everything's you're just not as good at whatever it is you were before that. But stand up, that is not the case. And especially if you weren't doing stand up when you were 40, it's not the case. I think you can progress. I'm saying this because I'm speaking for myself to some degree. I think you can get better in stand-up from 50 to 60 versus 20 to 30 in stand-up, provided you've never done it before. Like your thought, your worldview, your vocabulary, your reference points, your life experiences
your
are all
perspective
kind
evolves.
of more
you're confident
than what it was. And people are like, well, if you didn't get started when you were in your 20s or 30s, like, good luck, old man. But not really. You can get good older, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, I've really only been doing it for, 4 or 5 months now. The fourth time I got up to literally do just stand up since I was 20, was one night at the Improv a couple months ago, and and so I got up, and then I was followed by Nikki Glacier, then John Mulaney, then David Spade, and then Nick Kroll. So,
geez, they really
needless
threw
to say,
it.
I was in the right spot of that lineup. But I have been having a blast doing it.
Yeah, it's sort of like learning a new language or sport or something later on in life and kind of getting into it, Well,
what's really weird is, I played shitty golf my whole life. I'm still not a great golfer, but I finally got good at golf. I play better golf now at the age of 59, which I just, than I did when I was 30 or 40.
Yeah, I think some of it is mental, and then some of it is kind of a new world order, and that people just aren't what they were when they were. When we grew up, and our dads were 60, that was old, and you acted old, and women wore hairdos that were old, and especially when you go back, like you really want to feel old. You're like, Captain Stubing was 42 when they did the pilot of Love Boat, and Aunt B was 51.
I think we're in better shape today. Yeah. Listen, when I was 54, I know there's nothing more shallow than the pursuit of the bench max. But when I was working in, Vancouver on a series of unfortunate events, I was there for 2 years. And
2 years?
Yeah, well, off and on. But yeah. And so I was getting back into the gym. I started, hitting the bench again, and I actually got my bench max up to 405 pounds at the age of 54. Now, this trashed my shoulders, so I don't do heavyweight now.
405 pounds.
Yeah, four plates, both sides. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, when if you do anything that starts with a 3, that's good. But if it starts with a 4, that's crazy.
Yeah, So, but no more.
You had a spotter. Get a spot, call for a spot. 2 guys, right? You got to have 2 guys with 400s.
No, I had a trainer buddy there of mine, Adam.
Was he yelling at you?
No, he didn't have to. But yeah, look, I was only able to press that once, but I got it up, and
wow.
I mean, when I was in my mid-20s and I was 240 pounds, and I rode crew, and shortly before that, I mean, the highest I ever got it was like 430, but that's when I'm in my mid-20s.
But that is, that is for a longer guy, because, the guys that are built like butt plugs, they don't really have to move that far to do the cleans or the squats or the deadlifts or the bench. Like, there's guys who do bench, their arms can't reach the bar. Someone has to hand them. It's like you. That whole thing's moving about 7 inches. Like for the guys that are long, got the wingspan on them, 400 pounds. That's crazy, man. That's impressive.
Yeah, well, it was stupid too, I guess, because my shoulders are so shitty, but whatever. And I talked to my doctor, I go, look, all I really want to do is avoid surgery and play golf. He goes, lightweights. So I just do lightweights now. Yeah.
All right. So
I got to try to keep up with my boys.
Yeah. But yeah, I think your lot in life is you had a strong genetic hand dealt to yourself. So when you have a strong genetic hand, you try to keep playing it maybe too long in life. Like a chick who has a great body, but now she's in her 60s, she's still trying to wear the skinny jeans and stuff. It's like the dumpy chicks give it up early and enjoy themselves. You know what I'm saying?
I can't wait to be fat. Oh,
it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
So excited.
Patrick, I know you got a hard out, right? Is that a correct statement?
Is that about now? Saying we're doing Duel Day.
That's what they said.
Duel Day. It's
all right.
Duel Press Day, yeah.
Duel, by the way, is the movie. It's a really cool concept. And the trailer's really strong. And, you see enough movies where you can look at the trailer and go, oh, this is a well-made film. And it's kind of cool, and I wish they would bring it back. And there was a famous duel. Abraham Lincoln was supposed to be in a duel. I don't know if you know this story or not, but it's a recent story. That
one of the first things I ever wrote, like stand-up, was I had to host the Annie Awards, and they gave me some writers. And
wait, what is the Annie Awards? Sorry.
Well, it's like the Academy Awards for animation.
Oh, Annie Awards.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So I wrote this dumb joke, and I go, as a voiceover artist, I would have to say that my 3 favorite voiceover artists of all time would have to be Mel Blanc, Dos Hawkins, and then I go, of course, the great John Wilkes Booth, which gets a response. And then I go, I understand. We think of him as only an actor. I go, but he was also a voiceover artist. And then I go, not in cartoons, obviously. They didn't have those back then, but I go in puppet shows. And I go, there's no recording of his voice because they didn't have anything like that. I go, well, they did have that wax cylinder thing that you could turn. And I yell to the wings. I go, what do you call it? I go, I'm not here to give a history lesson. Those are my 3 favorite voiceover artists. And I like the joke because it's so stupid. And essentially what you're doing is it's stupid, but it's intellectual in a sense. You're explaining to people why they don't get it. And they're not in the industry and they don't understand. But it goes from one stupid thing to another and to another as you explain it. And so I sort of like the sort of the construct of that one. And it's just like one of the dumb things that, but the guys that they sent me writers, to pitch jokes, and the jokes that they had for me were like, I'd be walking on stage playing an imaginary video game. Hold on, I'm almost on level 6. I go, thank you guys, I appreciate it. And then I called the producer. I go, I got to write all my own shit. So I wrote all my own shit. And that was my first experience.
It's shit usually.
It is
sometimes.
shit. Yeah.
I think it's funny and I think it's high concept, but when you open for me in Reno, don't do it.
Don't do that.
I got to warm up that crowd.
Strictly historical jokes.
I just want dad jokes. Talk about Putty. Talk about Seinfeld.
He changes his whole act to just dick jokes.
Play the hits,
I'm
Patrick.
sorry.
Warm that crowd
it's too
up.
fucking weird and cerebral.
I want them hot
That's
when
where
I
we
hit the
go.
stage.
But that's
not
good because
thinking.
there's a crowd that needs jokes like that.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I'm just busting your chops. It's funny.
I know.
All right, so me and Patrick are going to be hanging out in Reno. That'll be August 9th. Show starts at 7, so come on out. And then Patrick's going to do stand-up. I'm going to do stand-up. And then July 31st, that's the movie, The Duel, which I love the concept of. So go out and support that. Patrick, good seeing my friend.
Thank
Alexis,
you, my brother.
You hang out, we'll do news.
Yeah.
And we'll do that right after this. O'Reilly Auto Parts are in the business of keeping your car on the road. Friendly, helpful service and parts and knowledge. All the stuff you need to maintain and repair your automobile. I've been with these guys for a million years. I always wear my O'Reilly hat when I'm walking around. People think I'm smart. And I am, because I use O'Reilly. Used to use the one up on Foothill in La Crescenta back in the day. I get my parts. I like to do it, hands-on. I got thousands of parts and accessories in stock, either in store or online. Never have to worry if you're in a jam. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of the car. If it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find it and just the right battery that'll work in your vehicle. Also, windshield wipers replaced, brake lights fixed, quick service. They'll help you find the right part and point you in the right direction of a shop that can help you install this stuff if you need it. They're professional parts people. That's what they are. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you can go in and do it, or you can go online and get your stuff. At O'Reilly, it's easy. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit them online, O'Reilly.com/Adam. Yeah, let them know I sent you. O'ReillyAuto.com, O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, calling from northern Wisconsin on the big lake they call Gitchagumi. Got another thing to do before you die. Show up to a crime scene and yell out, "Who's in charge here?" When someone answers, "I am," you reply, "Not anymore, you're not." Get it on.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Said he was off of Lake Gitchagumi. Is that what he said?
I didn't quite catch it. Let's see what he said.
Wisconsin?
Calling from northern Wisconsin on the big lake they call Gitchagumi. Got another thing to do before you die.
Yeah. Now, Dawson, I'm going to turn the tables on your ass.
All right.
He's making a reference there.
I don't know.
Oh, you're all high and
Gitchy-gooey.
Gitchy-goomy. You're all fucking riding high on your Stephen Bishop shit. Now you've been brought down to earth with a song reference from the same era.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is that Lady Marmalade. Gitchy-googie.
Lake Gitchy-goomy. It's a lake.
Okay.
She's making up words. He's talking about a lake.
Yeah.
But he said the big lake they call Gitchy-goomy.
Right. So that is a lyric from a song.
A very popular song.
I have no idea.
That's around, not too far off the Stephen Bishop song, but a little earlier.
Is it a Neil Diamond song?
No, but you're warming up. You want Alexis to tell you, or should I do it?
Yeah, Alexis, you tell me. I like your voice.
Well, I was going to go with the gitchy gitchy ya ya ya, Lady Marmalade.
Well, she's making up a word. This is an actual lake. All right, you ready?
Tell me.
You're going to be angry, Dawson. But there's only one person in this building that got that reference. Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh. Is that the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald?
On the big lake they call Gitchigumi.
Okay.
Play? Now we got to find it, and they're going to play it for you. Yes. D- student at North Hollywood High, by the way, Alexis.
Oh, no.
That was me.
I can't tell. I can't tell his age.
Dawson?
Yeah.
Older
He's one of
than
those people.
you, but younger than most. All right, I think they're going to start here. You a big Gordon Lightfoot fan or just kind of a medium Gordon Lightfoot fan?
Me?
Yeah.
This is the first I've heard of this man.
The legend lives on from the Chippewa down of the big lake they call Gitchigumi.
Well, there's the line, isn't it? Now, how did I know that? All right.
That's exactly who I'm picturing.
All right. The big lake they call Gitchigumi, and that's why he said the big lake they call Gitchigumi instead of just Gitchigumi Lake.
Yep.
That's right. They also have to kind of read what the person is saying. He was saying something that sounded a little odd because he was quoting a song.
That's why you're the ace, man.
That's why they call me Ace. All right, Alexis.
News?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Ferrari program aims to stop counterfeit cars. Classic Ferraris can be among the most valuable cars in the world, with some selling for tens of millions of dollars. That value also means it's a right market for counterfeits. Ferrari is so determined to maintain the authenticity of its cars that it's crushing potential fakes into cubes.
Oh, yeah. So it's a big, anytime something's worth millions of dollars, potentially, and could be recreated for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, you can't recreate a Ferrari that looks like a facsimile of a Ferrari for under, 400, probably going to be, several hundred thousand.
So people actually do this.
Yeah, they do it, but like, if you did counterfeit art, like if you did a Monet, it wouldn't cost you that much in materials.
Yeah.
You just have to find somebody who could do a Monet. But it's not like you could go down to Joann's Fabrics or something and get enough shit so somebody could do a Monet. But
like a Banksy or whatever.
Yeah.
And,
you could do it. But if you want to do a Ferrari, you're going to need an Italian V12 engine. You're going to need a body. You're going to need to have somebody bend aluminum and make it into the shape of the 50s Ferrari, whatever. It's going to take a while, and it's going to cost a lot. It'll be several $100,000.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to forge some papers, and you'd have to stamp it with some serial numbers that were forged and things like that. But if the actual version of the car was worth $20 million, then that'd be a pretty good return.
I guess so, but that
on
means
your investment.
That means you're still rich enough to get this fake car made, and that's embarrassing.
Well, organized crime makes, drug cartels make pretty good cash. They have enough. They have enough to give you $1 million for your suitcase full of fentanyl. As long as they can sell it for $20 million, then that's the business they're in.
Well, now they're saying too, this program, they're getting people to tattletale.
Yeah.
On other people. And they've spotted a knockoff Ferrari branded refrigerator.
Oh, now they're just talking about copyright shit.
Yeah, which is the douchiest thing I've ever heard. If I've ever seen a yellow fridge with the horse on it in someone's...
The prancing horse.
someone's kitchen.
The prancing horse was a family sign, like a crest for a family, and it was lifted off a plane that was on a World War I plane, and the guy died in the plane in World War I, and then Ferrari said to the family, I want to use the prancing horse for my car brand, and that's how they got the Ferrari prancing horse. Yeah.
Now it's on a fridge in someone's...
Yeah, someone's getting sued.
House.
No one else says the prancing horse. Leno posed this piece of trivia to me, and I was humiliated that I didn't have the answer. He goes, the Ferrari prancing horse? I go, yeah. He goes, the other car manufacturer that has the prancing horse? I go, no. And he goes, Porsche. And I was like, I kind of thought about it. You can find it now, I think, Dawson. But Porsche has the same prancing horse, basically, that Ferrari had. I do believe, unless I'm freaking out. All right, good. Because these cars are selling for millions of bucks now. Yeah, it's Porsche has the same prancing horse. And I say the same, I mean pretty much the same prancing horse. You don't think about it. You just think about the prancing horse on the Ferrari, but Porsche,
that's so
smaller
regal looking.
But it's prancing horse.
Well, now they're giving the people who rat these people out, they give them a complimentary Ferrari gadget.
Like a bottle opener? Right. What's a Ferrari gadget?
I just feel like they would sell that, and that would be counterfeited. Now it's a slippery slope here.
You're getting more merch out to be counterfeited.
It's a PR move.
I don't like crushing the cars. Somebody spent a lot of time on that car.
Yeah. Well, they're saying, too, because of the movie, the 2023 Michael Mann film Ferrari, they use these prop cars, and so now they have to crush them so they're not out in the open.
That's dubious. And I'll tell you why that's dubious. They make fiberglass versions of those cars with Subaru engines in them. They don't make real facsimiles of a Porsche. You don't have to do that.
No, that's not necessary.
I've went and seen those cars. You cannot mistake one of those cars for a real Ferrari. I've seen them in real life. The guy, when they did Ford v Ferrari, the movie, there was a bunch of those cars and they were selling them and they were just looked like fiberglass with Subaru engines in them. You would never think that was a Ford GT or Ferrari P, whatever. It was nothing. You would never mistake it. So I don't know why you'd have to.
They're just trying to make a point, right?
Okay, so it says in the article that because of the Michael Mann Ferrari movie, they're having to take the cars they used in the movie and crush them?
Yep.
That's a lie.
From ever entering the collector car market.
Well, first off, somebody owns those cars. Like the guys who built those cars, own them. They're movie cars.
I feel like they would just stay in the lot.
They stay on whoever owned them. But no, people will sell them. But they're fake movie cars that are made of plastic, and when you get up on them, they don't look. They're not. They have the shape of a Ferrari. I don't think they crushed any of those cars.
Okay,
it's a bullshit story.
Can you imagine just some douchebag just pulls up with his tin car? I don't know.
It's all fiberglass and all. They don't have Ferrari engines in them. They have like Subaru engines in them. So it's nothing. It's nothing like it. Yeah. Emmy. They were offering for sale at an auction, like the Ford GT40 from Ford v Ferrari, like 5 years ago or something like that. You can find it. They'll go like, this is the car. It's the movie car. It's from the movie, and we're selling it. So then no one had to crush it. So I don't know what the fuck's going on.
By the way, it's definitely a movie car because the same people that made those Ferrari cars are the ones that made the Tumbler for the Dark Knight.
Oh, the Tumbler. Ooh. Yeah. All right. I don't know what the fuck that is because I'm not a nerd.
Definitely thought
Tumbler's where you put the booze, bro.
It was a water cup.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is interesting. California is #1 for road rage in the U.S., according to Forbes.
That's weird, but I get it.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah. Well, there's too much fucking traffic in LA, especially, but like in California, like it's just a problem and it's never really discussed or addressed. It's just a problem and we just kind of live with it and nobody has any plans or solutions. I've never heard anybody, about the closest. Remember, I'll tell you the most. I'll bring it full circle. Byron, remember our genius chick think friend Nithya Raman from the earlier thing who was talking about catalytic converters? Remember we played that tape of her like 2 weeks ago where she'd successfully got the no U-turn sign removed from the street? That's about, I talked to Gavin Newsom about traffic. I was like, it's a big problem.
I would have loved to hear that.
Like, what are we going to do about this? And he was laughing like the whole time. And I kept saying, people don't know to turn right on a red. Like, people don't use their blinkers. People get into fender benders on the freeway in the third lane and they get out of their car and start talking and stuff. Like, we need to fix this. And he's like, all he did was laugh.
He's like, there.
The whole time he just laughed. And I was like, I don't know why you're laughing. It's a big thing. We should do something. And they're like, nah.
And we're mentally ill. So
Yes.
you mix that in there with getting somewhere because everyone's late.
I agree. And it's got to be, look, road rage doesn't happen alone on a deserted highway. It happens when people are honking at you and bump into you and you're sitting there and you're running late and you're trying to make a flight and they've closed the lane and all that shit. And so it has to be the most road rage is the most traffic cities. Well, like Montana doesn't have a road rage issue because they don't have a traffic issue.
Well, it says number 2 on the list.
Montana.
Is Missouri.
What?
And then Utah.
Oh, well, yeah, but they're talking about like St. Louis. Like
Okay, got it.
You got to be careful sometimes. I think they're talking about
not
the
like a small
city.
town,
I don't think it's the sticks of Missouri. I think it's like St. Louis, Missouri, or whatever. But either way, it would be nice if traffic, like the LA City Council, LA's like the worst traffic in the world, right? I've heard much more discussion about the trans community versus the transportation community.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Let's respect the trans community. Now let's talk about something that affects everybody all day, every day. Traffic. Can we talk about it?
We talk about human trafficking.
We're talking about the trans
addressed.
community. Like, I want to talk about the transportation community.
Yeah.
They don't care. All right.
No, and no public transportation over here. No one does it.
We just don't. We have no plan, and it'd be nice because it's a big problem.
One of the biggest.
If we even talked about it, it would be nice. But it's like, it's not discussed.
Oh, can you imagine going somewhere in LA and there's no traffic?
Or at least efficient traffic, like people moving.
Yeah.
We have our chick think, Nithya Raman, once again, back on the road. This is the most traffic talk. I've lived in LA my whole life. This is the most traffic talk I've ever heard from a city council woman.
An LA neighborhood takes down street signs from the 90s that officials say discriminated against the LGBTQ plus community. The signs that read "No Cruising" and prohibited U-turns were installed in Silver Lake along Griffith Boulevard and Hyperion. It was an area known to be a hotspot for gay men.
These are kind of a relic of an era of the 90s when gay men would meet up here after hours.
Cruising, of course, meant something very different. It meant an opportunity for the LGBT community.
These fucking douchebags who run this city are fucking full tard mode all the time.
The signs finally came down today,
thank
more than
goodness.
10 years after the Silver Lake Neighborhood Council voted to dismantle them in 2011.
It's because gays used to cruise?
Yes. Gays used to probably get drunk after the clubs closed and then cruise to butt fuck other guys in bushes and then turn around at the end of the street and cruise back. And so families who lived on the street went, you know what? We don't like the homos cruising at 4 a.m. trying to fuck guys in our head. So why don't we put a sign up that says no cruising?
It's smart.
I would argue it's a sensible ask if you're raising a family in that neighborhood, but now it's an attack against the LGBT community. And don't worry, Nithya Raman snapped into action. First, I mean, when she was done, scolding Toyota for making their catalytic converter so easy to steal, now she's moved on to the important issue of taking down street signs. But that's as much traffic talk as I've heard around here.
Yeah. Should we go to the next one? Or actually,
right.
It's a really, it's interesting because Arizona was number 1 in the U.S. for road rage, and now they're not even on the list.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
wonder what happened to those
I don't
people.
know.
All right, well,
It's
L.A., we're
too
number
hot
1.
to be.
Yeah.
To have any sort of rage. Okay, well, this is a good story. This is nice. Bruce Springsteen is now a billionaire Forbes says.
Mm.
We needed another one of those.
If I hear Born in the USA ever again, I'm going to fucking kill myself.
I didn't know if you were a major fan or anything, so I didn't want to.
Bruce Springsteen has good songs, and he's a real good performer, but he also has shit songs. Like Born in the USA is a shit song.
Yeah.
It's for dumb people. And then there is Glory Days, which is sort of a shitty ditty of a song too, but then he has Rosalita and stuff. So he has like some really interesting stuff. And then he has some really shitty stuff. The problem with Bruce Springsteen is Springsteen fans are so ravenous that they will not recognize his shit. Like Born in the USA is just a shit, super repetitive shit song. But they love it. Now, I have a theory. I don't know where you're with this, but we can figure this. Let's see if we can figure this out. I've said years ago, and I'm talking, it's all into a microphone, so it's all logged somewhere, but probably 25 to 28 years ago, I said, I got a theory. I think Robert De Niro and Bruce Springsteen are secretly stupid. And everyone would go, are you kidding? Have you seen the Godfather?
The role that someone
have
gave
you
him?
seen these guys? Have you seen Raging Bull? So De Niro was thought to be a genius. He never spoke. He didn't do interviews.
Mm-hmm.
De Niro started showing up on The View like 10 minutes ago, but De Niro, there were no De Niro. De Niro did not go out and do the Tonight Show. He wasn't on, he didn't make the rounds. It was
I didn't know that.
De Niro was not around, and he was quietly considered a genius. And Bruce Springsteen was considered a genius too, because he didn't talk. He didn't do a lot of interviews. He just let his music do his talking. And we, because we're human beings, we go, that guy's got a gift. So he must be a genius. But as it turns out, he could just have a gift and be stupid. So De Niro could have a gift for acting, an incredible gift, but also have a 10-cent head. And Bruce could have a gift for music and simultaneously be stupid. But what we do is we ascribe all these other accolades to them. So people thought Bruce was a genius, and they thought De Niro was a genius. Now, we found out that De Niro's a fucking retard over the last 20 minutes.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, he's dumb.
When did we find this out?
Because
what gave it away?
He goes on these shows. He's like, "Fuck Trump," like fuck. And if he was he's not even articulate about it. He's not interesting about it. He's not nuanced about it. He just sounds like a fucking old man who's pissed off. So De Niro outed himself as an idiot.
Okay.
Bruce has not outed himself as an idiot.
From the Jersey Shore.
But if he talked for a while, you would go,
yeah, I looked at a
I
picture
don't
of
think
him.
that guy's not that smart. But they both look smart, and they're both gifted, so we think they're geniuses.
Yeah, I could have told you that Springsteen probably wasn't the greatest at, current events or anything like that. But he is tan, and he looks good for 70.
We'll give him credit. They get credit for looking good.
He sold his catalog to Sony for $550 million.
Oh, so we're going to start seeing glory days for cruises for older people and stuff like.
Yeah.
See, you're going to start seeing that shit. Like, what happened is Queen, I think, sold their catalog, and now there's a Queen song in every fucking movie, on every trailer, everything. It's everywhere, because when you pay $400 million for something, you got to start making money on it, back on it, like now. And so we're going to start hearing Bruce. They're going to do Glory Days and Born in the USA. Oh, yuck.
And they say, too, his concerts now. So he sold 1.6 million concert tickets, generating $360 million in revenue. But also, this is what amazed me. His concerts go over 3 hours. He's like the Taylor Swift of the geriatrics.
Yeah. He is an amazing live performer, which you can never take away. But still doesn't make him smart. Makes him super hardworking.
Man, but
yeah. 1966 Superformance GT40 Mark II sold for $484,000 in 2020.
Ooh, look at that.
From the movie Ford v. Ferrari. Now, that's not a real Ford GT. The real Ford GT would be $30 million. This is $480,000. But it looks like a Ford GT.
Jeez.
But no one gets to crush it, so I don't really get it. But all right. Keep going.
Okay. This is more of a question, I guess, according to Yahoo News. Should doctor-patient confidentiality still apply when the patient is the president?
I think if it's something like, you have a herpetic lesion on your nutsack or something.
I would love to hear that. Or an STD.
Yeah, that's a herpetic lesion.
Oh, sorry.
But another STD or
like
another
chlamydia or something.
Yeah, chlamydia, like another kind of STD. Yeah. So I don't really need to know about STDs.
Okay.
I don't think I need to know even about like high cholesterol or a bad disc in your back or something like that. But if you have something that would affect your decision making, then I think that's relevant.
You think like early onset dementia you would want to know about?
Well, the thing about early onset dementia is if you're going to be on TV a lot, it's going to be hard to disguise, but it's also weird that we're living in a time where you're looking at things and you're going, he clearly has something going on, and then everyone on the news is yelling at you. You don't know what you're talking about. He's fine. And it's like, yeah, except for I'm looking at this thing. And they're going,
so hard.
That's a cheap fake. He's not really that, and you're like, but I hear him talking.
Yeah,
and
they're like, no.
Nah, it's not what you're hearing. And I'm like, well, I did hear it, Amy, you got to find our mashup, our thing, that thing. See, he was given a speech, one of his, my whole thing is, with Biden gone, like who's going to agitate black people? Like Kamala Harris is going to have to really step up her game because he was in the middle of a speech where he's trying to agitate black people, which is 40% of his speeches. And right in the middle of it, he just goes, and nobody knew what I was talking about when I said it. But when you hear it now, and this is several months ago, but when you listen to the sound he makes when he's speaking now, and now you start thinking about dementia and Parkinsonian diseases and things like that.
Closing doors of opportunity, attacking the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. If you can believe it, banning books about black experiences. Black experiences. Black experiences.
Okay.
Black experiences.
That's something you wouldn't do if you were tired or jet lagged or spent too much time preparing at Camp David. Like he was like,
it's a small stroke.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I looked at it and I was like, this is a big deal. And no one else knew what the fuck I was talking about. They didn't, the right-wing news and Fox and all the people that are jumping on this stuff, they didn't jump on it. Nobody jumped on it. Just watch the beginning one more time. And it's like, it's insane. Just watch it.
Black experiences.
Well, start it from the beginning, right?
Doors of opportunity, attacking the values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. If you can believe it, banning books about black experiences.
All right. So I'm saying, who's going to agitate the blacks if he's not functioning? Because he's like, I got to agitate black people. I got to tell them they're not wanted here. There's a target on their back. We're trying to burn the books. We don't want you in our society. I guess Kamala Harris can pick up the mantle of agitating black people, but it's just going to have to really work it hard. So something's wrong with him. And something was wrong with him, and it's been wrong with him for a number of years. And yes, we should be aware of that. Again, the other things, the herpetic lesions and things like that. That's personal.
I would like to know, just because it just makes them like, oh, they're just like us,
Oh yeah, like if he had Crohn's.
Sure, yeah.
And you can picture him just sitting on the pot, in Air Force One, just blowing it out. Like walking out of Air Force One, going, all right, you better give it a minute. Like Secret Service guy wants to use the head, and he's like, give it Give it a second.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't know. Do you think he has a speech coach?
I'm always curious. I'm sure somebody writes his speeches, and they always do this thing where they would try to cover for him. They'd go, he has a stutter, okay? He's overcome a stutter. And then I'd go, I've never heard him stutter. I've heard him not think of people's names, and I've heard him fuck up the dates, and I've heard him, call Kamala Harris the president and stuff like that. I've never heard the stutter part. And then they go, he has a stutter, leave him alone. And I go, I am. I'm not talking about, it's not a stutter's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something else.
He passed away during that speech.
Yeah, it was like a jukebox that got unplugged.
Yeah, my dad does that
in.
Sometimes, and we're just like, that's just him.
Yeah.
He's not president.
No, we'd probably do okay. So, yes, I think that we should be privy to information that is pertinent. I know I used a lot of P's there.
Yeah.
It has to. We should be privy if it's pertinent. If it doesn't affect us, then I don't need to know.
Okay. Yeah, I can agree with that.
But if they do. And listen, if firemen can age out at 50 and commercial airline pilots can age out at 65, then we should have a little test for the elderly politicians
That
as
should
well.
be the first thing they do.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like when you can drive an automobile when you're 90. You just have to get a test every year to make sure you can drive a car when you're 90, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of people, Bernie Sanders is older than he is, and he's plenty sharp.
Yeah.
His ideas are retarded, but he communicates, and he's fine, and he moves, and there's no one says. He doesn't do the move.
No. What do you think he's doing right now, Bernie?
Bernie is probably sitting around yelling about people not paying their fair share somewhere.
Somewhere in like Vermont or something.
Yeah, in one of his houses.
Yeah.
I don't know which house. There's more than one house. Yeah, he's smart. I don't even know. I have no idea the guys who never work in the private sector, never make a fucking business or a penny or have payroll to make or anything, just fucking sit around and pontificate all day about what everyone needs to pay and how everyone has to pay their fair share. I just, the more I look at politicians, I was adding up Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, and I got 140 years on this planet with zero private sector. Just no jobs.
Yeah.
No jobs outside of government. It's in their entire career. And it's like, you gotta open a restaurant and make payroll and deal with the government and deal with health codes and deal with inspectors. Like,
I agree.
Just 5 years of like doing a job. There was I'll always screw it up. It was Walter Mondale. I think it was, Emmy, and maybe you can look this up. But I whatever you think of Walter Mondale, and people don't know or do know, he basically said this, and I don't even know if he was right wing or left or progressive or conservative. I don't really know. He just said, look, I worked in government my entire life, and I saved up money, and then I retired, and I wanted to open an Airbnb, and I don't know, Vermont or something. And I tried opening the Airbnb, and it was so much hassle and so much regulation and so much governmental stuff that I couldn't do it. And he just went, I wish I knew this when I was making all the rules.
Yeah, it should be a
how
prereq.
fucking hard it would be for people to follow all these rules.
It's crazy to me.
And it's like, yes, just go work in the private sector, have a business, start a business, have employees, deal with the government, deal with regulation, and then go into government. And then when you go into government, you'll have an eye toward, well, I'm going to pass another rule for another small business that's going to put them out of business. Walter Mondale, Democrat. And was that his saying, Emmy? Oh, man, or am I making him up? What politician said he wish he knew this? What politician tried to start, I said Airbnb, but back then it was just a B&B. Like when they had a B&B, which was Bob Newhart's second show. He ran a bed and breakfast on his second show.
Did you know that the founders of Airbnb originally tried to make a cereal?
Really?
Yeah, that's how it got started. It was
Really?
a cereal company. Yeah. And
I did not know that.
Political cereal at first. Oh,
Wow. Well, there you go.
I think my headphones.
I know that. You know who Gordon Lightfoot is now. This is amazing. All right. Let's see.
I think I got cut off on here.
Oh, all right. Can you hear yourself? Can you hear? Well, you don't need to hear anymore.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
She's good. Just tape her mouth.
Me and Warburton are going to be at the Automobile Museum in Reno doing our show. That'll be on the 9th of August. And then Alexis, well, got a bunch of dates she's already done, but August 3rd coming up, right?
Yes.
Boardroom Brewery in El Segundo,
Yep.
doing stand-up there. Also, should we just go to your website?
Yeah, alexisprigo.com.
Alexis Prigo with an I, Prigo.
Yes.
.com for that. Warburton, The Duel. The movie is out on the 31st of July. And until next time, Adam, for Alexis and Patrick, saying mahalo.